Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Still in this crazy world with the war going on. I hope everyone's safe, everyone's family is good, and of course that you had a great weekend if possible. So, as usual, if anyone is in the live chat, could you let me know if the audio is good, if the sound is good, if everything is fine before we dive into everything? Very, very, very good prediction last week, but we'll dive into this just in a couple of seconds. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So, see a couple of people. I'll wait a couple of seconds before cover everything. All good. Hello. Hello, Adam. I think it's the first time I see you. It's nice to see new people, of course, as usual. Nicholas, nice to see you. Jean-Pierre, nice to see you as well. So it's good to see you guys. Hope you all had a fantastic trading week and also weekend. So with that said, we can dive into everything, starting with the announcements, with just a couple of seconds. Then we'll do the recap, and finally, of course, we will cover what we can expect for this week. Unlike most scammers, I don't want to talk about this right now. But for the announcements, as you guys know, if you want to trade with a 30% fee discount on BitUnix, the referral link will be available down in the description of the live stream. Bro, I can't talk today. And of course, if you want access to my imbalance indicator, which is one of the few weeks where I didn't get the best indicator at the top, but usually, of course, the imbalance indicators give us very good triggers to call highs and lows. Of course, the link will also be in the description of the live stream. For the recap, as you all know, we had one plan, which was this one. I can remove the timing, which was for the Monday low, but that was the plan, as you all know, last week. It was on Sunday, right there. I wanted to see the drop into $65,000. Why $65,000? If I remember well, it was on the 30 minutes chart. We had a wickless 30-minute imbalance right there. So pretty much it was in line with this 65,000 level that we already had. Guess what happened? We came down to fill that wickless 30-minute imbalance plus order block. It held beautifully as support, and then from there we got a beautiful reversal to the upside to get the fake out above $72,000 exactly as predicted, and then we got the reversal to the downside. Now for myself, most of you know, but I do have to admit I am not the proudest of my performance this week. Well, I just took one loss, but it's not really about the money. So for the long, I missed it because I didn't want to be trading on Sunday. So on Monday, was that Monday? Yeah, so on Monday, I was pretty much waiting to see if we could get the sweep of that low because once again, it happened on Sunday and I didn't trade. So I was just waiting if we could get the sweep of yesterday's low. So that was Sunday's low, and then I would be interested in long positions because once again, that was the plan to get the drop into 65 and then get a reversal. Unfortunately, now we got a retest, so I could have entered there, but we didn't get the sweep which I was looking for. But still, if anyone traded Sunday, unlike me, that would have been such a nice long position to take it up basically above $72,000. Okay, even when you got a drop on Tuesday, right there, personally, I was still aiming for that deviation above. What happened? We got that deviation above. That's what I want to talk about. I did take my short a bit early, which is what I'm disappointed in. Right, my entry was 72.6. Sorry, 72.6. Ended in a small loss, well, a decent loss. Then after that, I wanted to stay on the sidelines for $76,000, which never happened. Okay. But apart from that, at this point, of course, I did realize that it was possible that the top was in because we got a reversal on the 12-hour on Bybit. Especially if I show you on Binance, it looked even better for the shorts, of course. Why? Because we had a 12-hour imbalance right at the top that got recovered. Okay. So you take the open of this candle, and when you lose it, this pretty much confirms the top. So that was it for my week. Took one trade, which was a small loss. I was a bit aggressive on the on the short, which is a bit disappointing just because I have been so patient during this entire range. I took a massive, beautiful long right on this low. If you remember, I wanted to do the same on the short, but when I saw the imbalances on the 30 minutes, was it? Yeah, right there, I saw two imbalances. We already had 172.6, so I pretty much got the exact top. I was too aggressive. That's all I can say, right? But in any case, once again, I'm very happy that the plan fully played out. If anyone was smarter than me, a bit more patient, or maybe even use lower leverage, and so even if you entered early, it was okay. So if anyone executed better than me, of course, a good job. That's the point of doing these predictions, is to help you guys trade, not just for me. So if anyone cut the top, good job. One thing I want to say, I don't talk about this often, but I do mention it sometimes. Just be aware of freaking scammers online. I'm seeing a lot of people that are claiming to have predicted this move. While funnily enough, if you look at their YouTube updates and Twitter posts, they were calling for lower prices on Saturday when door was announced. Myself, I was calling for higher prices, as you know. Just funny how everyone was bearish down there, and then all of a sudden, everyone predicted this move above. Scammers everywhere, no one sharing their losses. Everyone, it's just freaking annoying, man. I even saw people change their freaking YouTube title where they were calling for lower prices last week, and all of a sudden the YouTube title changed. But anyway, we predicted this move. Bad execution from myself, but it is what it is. I take losses just as I take wins. And with that said, what can you expect this week? Well, of course, I mean, if I add back the plan, this remains my bias. I mean, I guess I can remove this because we can go over to Binance. My higher time frame plan remains the same. We wanted to see the fake out above $72,000. Okay, this plan hasn't changed for weeks. Wanted to see the fake out above. We got the fake out above, not towards 76, but again, the fake out was very valid as we outlined last week and this week. We got the fake out, and now all I'm looking for is for a deviation below the low at $60,000. Okay, so this remains the higher time frame plan. I'm personally looking for this. That looks like a very good high. So what can you expect this week? Well, based on this bias, we obviously have to look for levels. First thing on the daily, we don't have much. 12 hour, not much. Let me look at Binance. I don't think we have anything on the 12 hours. Same thing. 4 hour, the main thing that catches my eye definitely is this wickless candle. I like this one for two main reasons. One, we have an imbalance there, which I would love to get filled. Okay, so at 70.2, of course, this could be resistance, but this level doesn't look strong enough to me to open a short. So just above this imbalance, we have a wickless 4 hour candle, which is pretty much around this daily open as well. Okay, so I think this is a good area. Second reason that I like this level is that if we go on the lower time frames, we have these highs. Okay, and my guess would be that if we move up into this level, people that have missed the short, so including myself, will be looking for a fake out above these highs. So I mean, it's an obvious highs. It's an obvious high. You guys know I sometimes talk about obvious highs. In my opinion, this is a very obvious high. And if price does attempt to make a recovery, everyone that has missed the short will wait for the fake out above that high in order to enter their short positions. Of course, it doesn't mean that this cannot happen. It is possible to sweep that high. But for my bias, I just think that front running these highs makes a lot of sense. It is a good level on the 4 hour. It's a wickless candle. We have obvious highs above. And of course, $70,000 is a psychological level. So getting one more fake out above this could be very interesting. Now, the second reason that I would like to see a move back up this week. So I guess to outline the entire bias, I would like to see a retest higher. Okay. The first bias is that we have the wickless candle and that we have the 4 hour imbalance. But the second bias, okay, so just if you can outline the entire plan before I talk about the reasons, we have a wickless 30-minute right there. Again, we have a lot of wickless candles in this market, which have been offering very good trades, just like last week. This one looks fairly interesting, 65,500. Do we drop into it? Definitely possible. So my bias for this week will be this. Drop on Monday, back up, and then I would like to see a top this Friday before coming back down next week and then getting the breakdown below $60,000. Okay, so towards 58, 57, 56. Okay, that would be the massive area to hold as support, as you guys know. So for my bias, that would be it, I think. I'm very happy with this plan. Could we front on that level? Of course, I don't think it's a super strong level, so we don't really have to jump there. I'm just gonna keep it as a reference point and see if I open along tomorrow, but that would be my bias. So, one, we have a wickless candle, which is why I would like to see that move up. But the second reason, just because I would like to see a bit of alternation. What do I mean by that? What happened in the last range, which we also predicted? We had this low, which we wanted to see maintained until we broke above these highs. What happened? Depending on the daily, it's a bit better. We broke above these highs. We got the fake out with the daily imbalance, and then we got the reversal to the downside. The exact same thing is happening right now. We had a wick, a very big wick. We had the fake out above the highs, and then we got the reversal to the downside. What happened now? We had a very big wick on the 4-hour, not the daily, but still valid. We had a very big wick. We had the fake out above these highs, and now price is coming back down. So as price is doing the exact same thing by looking at these factors, what happened then was that price went straight down, sideways, and straight down. So it didn't really offer a retracement. My guess would be that this time they will kind of make it play out differently, which means that if here they didn't offer any retracements, this case they will offer a very deep retracement, which is why I would like to see a bounce this week. Could I be wrong? Of course. With that said, I'm not super interested in long positions. I am mainly interested in shorts. So that's one thing I have to say. But to me, it makes a lot of sense that we get alternation. Okay, once again, down, sideways, down. Would make more sense to get down, deep retracement, and then we continue lower. Okay, so that would be my thought process. That's how I'm looking at Bitcoin. Makes sense to me. Of course, I could be wrong. Could we find confluence with the volume profiles? Let's try to see. So from the low, okay, we have the value area high with the imbalance, so you could be aware of that level. I'll have to see in the live in the time, but I am much more interested in that level just from the naked eye. I think this level is better, but we have the value area high with the imbalance, so that is something to keep an eye on. $70,200 if you guys want to keep it on your charts. I'm gonna remove it. We take it from this high, same value area high, one last from this low, okay, same value area high. So just be aware of 70.2, okay? We could front on my level, even though I really like it. I think 71 is super nice, but keep an eye on 70.2, okay? Once again, just keep an eye on that level. If you're in shorts from the high, I think there's no reason to worry. You pretty much can just stay short and chill and expect lower prices. I don't think anything surprising is being said right here, okay? So if you're in short from the high, good job. So I think that would be it for Bitcoin. Hello, mate. Glad to see you. Glad to see you, Emperor. Last week price prediction and analysis played out very well. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's what you try to do, right? I try to give you one scenario that plays out much more often than not. Unlike most people, which once again were spreading fear down there when we got the war news, and then when we got the move up, everyone is claiming to have predicted it and to have predicted the deviation above $72,000. Surprising how every single person on Twitter predicted it, even though everyone was bearish just 1 week ago. Pretty funny how that works. But yeah, I think that's a good plan. I would like to see this play out. A deep retracement. I think that would be nice. That would be very nice. Okay. Bit of volume here on Binance. Two imbalances on that drop, which did offer a pretty big bounce. But yeah, we're seeing a bit of weakness right now. 2.5% almost. That was pretty good. Okay. Well, we'll have to see if we get that job tomorrow or if price is ready to go back up from here. Will I be interested in the long? This is mainly what I'm trying to think of. I think I'll just see tomorrow as usual. Right now, there's no point in just thinking about that. How long would you like price to stay below $60,000? Oh, that is a good question. That is a good question. That is a very good question. Hmm. Mm, I have my time, which don't I don't want to show this on stream. This is my little secret. I'm sorry. I would like to take a look at my cyclic lines. How long to stay below $60,000? I would give it a couple of weeks, honestly. I don't think we'll get an SFP, okay? A swing failure pattern, meaning I don't think we'll have a wick and come straight back up. I think we will go below $60,000 and stay below there for at least a weekend, okay? By a weekend, I mean a week, okay? We talk about the weekend to talk about like when price is low after a big drop, people start to open shorts just because they have more time, okay? So I think we will spend at least 1 week below 50, so $60,000. Could it be a bit longer? It could be, but I don't know. My main thing is that I really don't want Bitcoin to drop, let's say below. I talked about this before, but I don't want us to lose $52,000. I think if we lose 52, that's gonna be a massive, massive, massive sign of weakness. Now maybe I'm wrong and we actually take that low, but the main thing to be super safe, you don't want that low to be lost. Now that's being too safe, so I guess I would say $52,000. You don't want price to lose this level, okay? That's why this support is very important in my opinion, and it will offer a bottom. Once again, in my view, I don't think Bitcoin will go much lower than that. I think that would be the low. Logically, I think we will also bottom on war news. So probably the war continues until then. And then we get like rumors of a massive World War III maybe right at the lows. Everyone gets scared. Even on the stocks, we can't talk about stocks very quickly. Remember, on the stock market, is it a coincidence that the war started right at our resistance? A lot of people will say yes, but those people don't really understand how markets work. All I'm going to say is that you guys know I have literally had this resistance for months on my chart. And that was literally the only resistance that I had on this entire move up. And you guys know that when we moved up into it, I think it was around December, I told you guys that I sold all my stocks, okay? So is it a coincidence that we are getting the war right now? We're getting the bad news, we're getting the retracement from this area. I don't think it is, but that would be my guess, right? We get the war news. I mean, the war is already going on, but we get massive war fears. We get a big drop. We take out this very ugly low. I don't think we need to go much lower. I could be wrong on that. Anyways, I'm sitting mostly in cash, you guys know. But we get this. We get the massive war fears, and then we get the V-shaped reversal, which is always what happens on the stock market, okay? So that would be my view on Bitcoin. You bottom on massive war fears, and then you probably get a peace deal, right? Maybe we get a move up, we get a peace deal, and we get an explosion back up, something like that. And then of course everyone will say that Bitcoin went back up because we got a peace deal. Something like this will play out in my opinion, okay? So I don't know how long. I would just say it's above a week, okay? It's not going to be 1 day. So when price takes out, if of course, not just when, if price takes out that low, don't rush in to just buy, especially on leverage, okay? Spot is a bit different. You can be like, you can set limit orders, for example, but on leverage you can be pretty patient, okay? You don't have to rush. I think we will spend a couple of days down there, at least a couple of days. So you have a secret. Well, it's not a massive secret. It's just my time strategy. I don't really want to share it, just because it's cyclic lines, so it repeats itself. All I'm gonna say is that this got a freaking lot of highs and lows, and I think it has right now. Maybe since I think it's been since this low, it has like a 90, maybe a 94% hit rate. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna share this anytime soon. Just because once again it's cyclic. So if you add the tool on your chart, where is it? Where is it? Bruh, I'm gonna crash out. I look like such a noob when I do this, don't I? Right there. So cyclic lines, you can see like once you set the first 2 points, it always repeats itself. So but I can tell you, if you find the right time pivots and the right like distance in between them, this is extremely powerful. Taking the lows below 50k will show some signs of weakness. In my opinion, it will. In my opinion, it will, and it will open the door for much lower price on the Bitcoin. And by much lower, I mean much lower. Of course, I could be wrong. That's just my view, guys. I can be wrong, but on the higher time frames, I don't remember the last time that I was wrong on Bitcoin. That's all I'm gonna say. So we can move on to Ethereum, I guess. Ethereum, once again, we had a big clue that Bitcoin would take out 72k, and that is that on Ethereum, if you guys remember, we had this very ugly double top. So that was the first top, that was the second top. It was a very ugly double top that I wanted to see taken out. Guess what happened? We took out this double top and reversed to the downside. Exactly, so just exactly as Bitcoin. Okay, that's what we said. Look for this double top to get taken out and get the reversal. We took out the double top, we got the reversal. Nothing too surprising there on Ethereum, I'm gonna say. 12-hour, we had an imbalance. That one had a very big wick, so that was much weaker than Bitcoin. That was a decent trigger, I guess. There's not at the bottom of the wick. That would have been a pretty big stop loss. But yeah, you get my point. Played out as predicted. I'm gonna say once again, just let Ethereum follow Bitcoin. If we get that deep retracement on Bitcoin, we will get a deep retracement on Ethereum. If you guys want a level, it's gonna be the same one. We have a 4-hour imbalance and we have a 4-hour wickless candle. So it will be the exact same logic on Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, from my experience, I don't trade this a lot, so don't take it like at face value. Do some more analysis, but from experience, Ethereum does tend to take out the highs and lows. Okay, so the liquidity. So on Bitcoin, I'm not looking for this high to get taken out. It is possible that on Ethereum, this high will actually get taken out. That's just when I sometimes look at Ethereum, it's much more likely to take out these highs before reversing. Okay, if it follows Bitcoin one-to-one, it's not going to do it, but it's just something that I have noted on Ethereum. It tends to take out highs and lows much more frequently than Bitcoin. Okay, so once again, Ethereum, exact same plan as Bitcoin. Solana, will we reach my bear market target? I think yes. $51. We literally outlined this when we were up above 120. So right there, when we were inside of this range, I talked about this target. And yeah, we also shared the exact high on Solana. What's your ETH bear market target? Honestly, it has already been reached. I did tell you guys that I bought some spot at 1.8 wide that level. We had a wickless daily imbalance. Okay, so at least for me, it was a good spot to start buying Ethereum. It does look like we will deviate below that. If we do, I think 1.3 looks like a decent spot, but that would be so low. So I don't know. I'm not sure. We do have another daily imbalance which could get filled, but my problem with that one is that we would get too close to this low, which in itself is already a double bottom. So if I go on the weekly, we take this low and see we have a double bottom right there. So if we drop, I mean, it's not that close. It's okay. I guess it could happen. I guess it could happen. So $1,600, let's call it. Okay, that would be a second target for me. Anything below this, I'll have to see. I'll have to see. Okay, so you can add this on your chart. I'm just gonna remove it for myself because I don't trade Ethereum. I'm just buying some spot. So yeah, I'm gonna remove that level. But if you're more interested in trading, or maybe you just want to have that level, just take the open of this daily candle. Okay, if I zoom in, it's this one on the 22nd of April, pretty much just below $1,600. Okay, so that logically could be a target for Ethereum. Any more questions? So silver, once again, guys, silver. What did I tell you? No, that's all I said. Okay, that's all I said. And Bitcoin, and I mean silver dropped. So, what did we have as well? Remember, we had the weekly. What? Why did it disappear? I guess my indicator doesn't really work. Maybe on silver, but we had a weekly imbalance. I'm fairly certain in this. But we had a weekly imbalance, which was also a wickless candle. Don't give wickless candles too much importance, but still you can see, I mean, it's drawn out right there. I'm not making anything up. High reverse to the downside, high reverse to the downside. Could it still make another high? Yes, but I don't trade silver. I don't freaking care. Overall, I think silver is done. And I've said this for a while. Gold, same thing. Gold is showing a bit more strength than silver. That is definitely something to know. But I'm guessing that if silver will drop, and I think gold will follow. One thing I was wrong about was definitely oil. Someone asked me about oil. I was wrong on oil. I thought that maybe it wouldn't really move up, but it ended up moving up super aggressively. But as I said, I don't invest in oil stocks. I'm not too much of an expert, but yeah, looks like oil is ready to go on a big run. But yeah, I don't invest, so I've said it before, don't really take my word for it on oil. I don't have too much knowledge on this. So does look fairly impulsive. We did talk about this. For anyone that invests in oil, just take a horizontal line, $50. Anything below $50 is always a good place to buy oil. So if you did this, of course before, I mean, when I said it, it didn't happen, but this is a very simple strategy on oil that pretty much always works. Anytime the oil goes below $50, you can start to invest in oil and oil companies or whatever. So right now you're getting the move up. Of course, if you're invested in an oil stock like Exxon, I'm guessing right there. I mean, yeah, would it be time to start taking profits? I don't give financial advice, but personally, one thing, for example, on silver that I was doing was that on the move up, right? I was selling a lot of silver that ended up paying off, and on other stocks like Robinhood, once again, I sold pretty much at 140, and we got a massive drop from there. And Netflix, that was the only stock I was telling you guys that I was watching and also bought. Is it a coincidence that Netflix went back up? I'm not saying it went up because I bought, that's not what I'm saying, but you get the discount, take out the double bottom, see the recovery, and well, you get a very strong continuation to the upside. So that was the only stock that literally, when we talked about it, it was right at the low. So it was 2 weeks ago, so it should have been Friday. Yeah, so we literally talked about Netflix at $77. So all I'm gonna say, of course, you guys know I bought a bit higher, around 85, 84. But if you bought when I talked about it, you would be up 30%. I'm personally up about 15, 20%. Okay, which in a couple of days is very good. And of course, if it drops lower, as I said, I think it's a good stock. It's nothing super deep. I'm not saying that was a very hard idea to catch. I don't think that was anything like you don't need to be an expert to buy freaking Netflix. Okay, all you had to do was be patient. And you guys know that's the only level that I had because we had a double bottom. We took a. I'm done. ETH will most likely gonna take out the lows at 1,200k if BTC drops around 50k. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But by 50k, when you say 50k, I'm guessing that you mean that low. because I don't want Bitcoin to touch 50K, which would mean we take out that low. Okay, I would like Bitcoin to remain somewhere above like 54, $53,000. Let's call it, so pretty much around this area. Okay, if we drop to this area, I don't think Ethereum has to take out $1,200. Again, I could be wrong. Don't really care. Just gonna buy more if it drops. Of course, at some point, if I get invalidated, I will cut the losses, which is why, of course, never invest or just risk in a trade or investment more than what you're willing to lose. So, I mean, if it goes down, I'll just buy a bit more. And then at some point, of course, if I see a lot of weakness on Bitcoin, I'm gonna cut my Ethereum in investment. So I'm not afraid to admit this. Okay. What do you think about the correlation of oil pumping and after that the stock market crashing? Well, I mean, I think it's fairly obvious. Oil is pumping because of the war. Anytime we have a war, oil pumps because because the supply chains get how do we say, get disrupted, and then oil goes up. So that's just fairly standard for wars. Regarding the stock market, my view, really, guys, my view on the stock market is mainly that we're dropping because we pump massively into resistance. If anyone thinks I'm lying, I never change my levels. I'm not interested in telling you that I'm always right or always wrong. That was the level I shared a month ago. That is literally the level that is getting rejected. So I think, once again, I still have this very ugly low which didn't get taken out. I talked about this. I sold all my stocks. We're gonna drop to take out this low, and then of course we have to see, do we see weakness on Bitcoin or not? Because I talked about this before. Believe it or not, my investments in stocks is also related to Bitcoin. Meaning, if I see Bitcoin forming a bottom, like I did in April, okay, even let's say even if you had a target a bit lower, when I saw the volume come in, I did a YouTube update right on Tuesday telling you should only focus on long positions. If you followed the advice, you made a lot of money. You can go back and watch the update. Okay, so it's a 5-minute video. That's when I bought stocks. It's mainly because I saw the volume on Bitcoin. Okay, you can see no daily imbalances, nowhere, and right at this low we got the daily imbalance. So that's when I bought stock. So right now on Bitcoin, I'm going to do the exact same thing. If I see the drop into this area and I see volume coming in, I see daily imbalances, I see 12-hour imbalances, potentially even weekly imbalances, and I see the wicks, so I see the bottoming signals, I will start to buy more stocks. Because right now, as you know, I mainly bought Netflix, and luckily I was invested in ELV, but I reduced, like I told you this last week, I reduced my investment in ELV, and I pivoted the cut of this investment into Netflix, which was of course in the end a great decision because Netflix ended up pumping and ELV ended up dropping. So right now I'm not really investing in any stock. I have a small position in ELV and I have a decent position in Netflix, but mainly I am still in cash. If I see Bitcoin bottoming, I will be interested in buying different stocks. Okay, which stocks will that be? Right now, I don't really have a watch list. I'm being honest. When I do, if you guys want to know, of course, let me know in the live chat. I could let you know which stocks I'm looking for. But right now, I don't have a watch list. I told you this literally 2 weeks ago. Netflix was the only stock that I was watching. What happened? We got the bump. We've talked about oil last week. Higher prices are expected regarding supply deficiency. Yes, indeed. BTC and stock market are mostly correlated. Drop on the stock market will influence Bitcoin as well. Well, I mean, it's not that simple. Definitely not that simple. Maybe you can say this in the hindsight, but why is it not that simple? Because you can look at the stock market. It's not really one. Like, it's not at all one-to-one. Since April, the stock market has been pumping non-stop. Or maybe not since April, you can take the all-time high. We can say even from this high, okay? So the stock market topped out in January, okay? From there, it was still going up. Bitcoin was pretty much done. If you take the start of the sideways moves, Bitcoin was pretty much done in July, okay? even if you take the sideways move on the stock market, and that's only the S&P, I'd have to look at the Nasdaq. This started in end of October, so pretty much in November. Okay, so Bitcoin topped out much earlier than the stock market, and the stock market was much more impulsive. So it's not really just the stock market drop, Bitcoin drops. It's not that simple. It doesn't always work, and you can't really act on it, right? I don't think it's just like, okay, stock market is dropping, then Bitcoin will drop. I don't think it's just a successful way to look at Bitcoin or the stocks for stocks investment. Well, for me, it's a bit different on Bitcoin, but especially for Bitcoin trading. So when I was looking for that deviation last week, I didn't care what the stock market was doing. I didn't care about the news. Same thing down there. What did I tell you last week? I told you we had put in the low, which I had longed. It was a very good low. Right there, I told you when we did the live stream, I don't care if there is a war. I don't think if everyone is calling for lower prices. I think Bitcoin will go up because the chart is telling me that Bitcoin will go up. What happened? We went up. Okay, we got the deviation above $72,000. So the news didn't really affect the charts. We are dropping on the stock market because we had a very big resistance. Of course, I could have been wrong on that resistance, but it ended up working out. And Bitcoin is dropping because, I mean, Bitcoin is just extremely weak, right? Again, if you say Bitcoin drops because the stock market drops, Bitcoin is down freaking 50%. Is the stock market down 50%? I mean, no. What is it down like? Freaking 4%. So the stock market is down 4%, Bitcoin is down 50%. So at this point, you can't really say that Bitcoin is dropping because the stock market is dropping, because then why is Bitcoin down 50% and the stock market is only down 4%? You get my point? I hope I'm not yapping too much, of course. I don't want to waste your guys' time, but just something I want to clarify, because I'm seeing more and more scammers on Twitter. That's all I'm gonna say. When you use trend-based fib extension, what do you think about the 1.618 for bigger rejections? I mean, maybe you don't know personally, but you guys know I don't use the fib extensions too much. We can look at silver and we can look at the stock market. The main thing that I look for deviations above highs and lows using Fibonacci's will be the expansion. Okay, so if you take silver, how did I find this level? Look at this. Did you say extend? Wait one sec. Did you say extension or expansion? Yeah, extension. So that was a fib expansion. Okay, that's not an extension. What did I do? I took from this high to this low. I took the 1.618, 1.66, and that's how I found this resistance on silver that ended up offering a massive drop. Exact same thing on the stock market. Why did I have this resistance? And go to the stock market. It's still there, right there, as you can see. I took this high, this low. I took the expansion. That's on the log scale, so it's a bit above, and that's on the non-log, which is right there, and that's why I took this box. Okay, so I pretty much took the midpoint of this area and the bottom of the second area, and that's how I found this resistance. You combine this with the psychological level at $7,000, and that's pretty much how I found this area. So personally, I don't really use fib extensions, even though they can be useful. I am mainly experienced in fib expansions. Okay, if you want to learn more about this, you'll probably have to ask me in another live stream, because it's already 40 minutes. I don't want to do an entire section on this. But to find a fib expansion, you first have to pick a range. Now, how do you find ranges? This will be very subjective. Okay, because in this case, okay, you could say it was easy, it was just highs and lows, but sometimes it's not just highs and lows. Okay, on silver, I think it wasn't the absolute bottom, or am I mistaken? Yeah, look at silver. So if I add back the bottom of this, I don't believe it was the low, right? You can see, okay. So if you take the low on silver, you can see how I took this fib right there. You can see this is the 0. I didn't take it from the absolute bottom. I took it from this low. Now, sometimes it will not be just one low above, sometimes it will be two lows above. So it just depends on the range that you personally identify. I can teach you how to identify ranges in different market environments. It's just always different. But you can see mainly you have to identify a range, pick the high and the low. I personally like these two numbers, and that's where usually I find my resistances, just like silver and just like the stock market. Okay. Do you think the S&P will get diminishing returns because it's holding up for so long? Mm, interesting question. I would say no, honestly, I would say no. Just because it's just been so strong for so long, and at the same time, I don't pay attention to this too much just because personally I once for one I never invest in indexes, okay? So I never buy, for example, what is it, the Vanguard index or something? Vanguard. I know a lot of people like this. For example, an ETF. I never buy this because I think the returns they're not that impressive. When you buy singular stocks, like for example AMD, which offered a massive bounce, like Robinhood, which I showed multiple times, like Netflix right now, freaking 30% in 1 week. You can make much more money buying singular stocks yourself than buying ETFs and indexes. So even if the S&P starts going up less, well, it wouldn't really matter because if you find a good stock, we can go back to Netflix because we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. You still made 30% in a week. So if you find a good stock, you have a good discount. I taught you guys last week. I mean, I showed you guys what I look for in a stock. I showed you the other ratios. You'll still get great returns. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what the S&P will do if you find a good stock. And look, even this, Netflix pumped while the stock market dropped. So even then, the stock market dropped and you got a big pump on Netflix. Now, will this pump hold up? This could mean that if the stock market continues on going down, what Netflix will do is maybe go down and start consolidating more before going back up. But it doesn't really matter because if you have a good entry price, then even if it goes lower, it's a great company, you believe in it, hopefully, and then and then you just buy more. You get my point? So I'm not too worried about how much the S&P index will perform because I pick good stocks, I pick few stocks, and I pick good stocks that I believe have very high return potential. And that's why, one last time, what I talked about last week was the 50% strategy, okay? So if you take any stock, we can go over to Bitcoin. It's not a stock, but I mean, it's an investment. When an investment is down 50%, if you buy it down 50%, then your return to the all-time high will be 100%. Okay, and that's how I operate with stocks. I wait for something to drop at least 50%. Then if it's a good stock, I will start buying. What is your opinion on silver being in a 200 million deficit for the last 6 years and its price? Mining deficit. Okay, yeah, I was. Um, Honestly, I have no opinion. I have no opinion on this. I got out of silver. That was all public, guys. If anyone tells me this is hindsight, you're full of S. Okay. I was getting out on this move up, so right now I really couldn't care less about silver. Is the mining deficit gonna change my view? If I'm already bearish, not really. I mean, not really. I have to be honest. So, no, I don't have a big opinion on it. I have to be honest. Okay. Uh, is there anything else I want to cover? The S&P. What happened there? Nasdaq as well, I guess. Dow Jones. Ooh, that was a bit of a bigger drop on the Dow. 6%, 7%. Okay, okay, okay. Hmm. Any imbalance? No, and no, and no, and no. Okay, so it looks like we could be reaching that level into tomorrow. That would be fairly interesting. Yeah, that looks good, I think. Okay, so let me put this in the Sunday plan because I haven't. As I just have to put this, right? That would be a Sunday plan. Don't really have a timing. I mean, we could put Monday, but it's not gonna make a difference. You guys already know Monday pivot. Don't think I have to repeat this. Sunday plan. That was it. Okay. That would be it. And as mentioned, you don't have to be too aggressive on the longs because on the higher time frame, personally, I am. Now that we got the fake out, I am leaning much more bearish on Bitcoin. Okay, so could be less aggressive on the longs. Now, if you're in a short, of course, you could look for a hedge you're because you have a short, so you're pretty much covered. If you don't have a short like me, I'll have to see how good this setup is. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. With that said, a quick recap. That's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. A drop into tomorrow. Hopefully we don't get another freaking Sunday low. I'm done with these Sunday pivots. I don't know what's happening. So I would look for a drop into Monday. I think we could get a lot of fear tomorrow just because the war is still going on. So if we get the Monday drop, I think the markets will once again be very fearful. And we could get one last squeeze before getting that big drop, which I am expecting. Going over to Binance, the higher time frame plan has never changed. That was it. Fake out above 72K. We got the fake out. I am now looking for the fake out below $60,000 to form a bottom on Bitcoin. Operate with this mindset even on the lower time frames. Right now that we got the fake out, at least in my opinion, of course you can disagree, I would favor the shorts much more than the longs. That is the plan for the week. And with that said, thank you everyone for the live chats. Thank you for the kind comments. Thank you for being here. If you could, of course, leave a like on the live stream. And if you have any more questions, you can message me on our Discord. If anyone is new, the Discord is free. You can join it. The link should be available in the description. If it's not, I will post it in a bit in the comments. And with that said, I wish you guys an amazing rest of the weekend. And of course, once again, an amazing trading week. Let's see if this plan can play out. And with that said, I'm out. Was that a good outro for once? I don't think so, but goodbye, everyone. So have a good evening.